Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson, and this is your wake-up call.
When a brown girl child is born, the earth shifts. The sun is at half-mast. The moon waits for her first cry. The ancestors set the table. The flowers turn red as blood. This is your land, continent daughter, with tree trunk legs and branches for arms. This is your soil, black and fertile as your eyes facing an apartheid Jim Crow current past memory. Some of us begin the removal of shackles at birth. We grow into the armor of struggle quickly. We brew courage in our tea, blend bravery into our Sunday dinners. Joanne Watson, you understand nation building is not a part-time job. This dedicated life is sometimes lonely, a vulnerable choice, but it is the only way you know how to operate. You are wired for the movement. In your black women bones, even when tired, still fighting, still organizing, still singing morning spirituals. You were born to lead, even in your own family, the eldest of 10 children born to Jefferson and Lestine. You made Damon, Nefertari, Stephen, Maya. Her children always knew.
Wake up, Detroit. Wake up, world. This is a special edition of Wake Up World, and we're coming to you because of the great sponsorship of BCHLE, the Black Congress for Health, Law, and Economics. We have a wonderful slate of guests, many of them connected with Kappa Alpha Psi, and we're going to be talking about getting out the vote today. What better issue than getting out the vote, as we're just days before the general election, the presidential election for 2020. Let me welcome the Honorable Adam Shakur, Attorney Derek A. Humphreys, National Director and General Counsel of BCHLE, Dennis Rogers, Dr. Dennis Rogers, National Field Director, BCHLE, Attorney Gregory Humphreys, activist and campaign strategist, David Hardrick, President, Unity 9 Political Action Committee, Samuel C. Hamilton, former Grand Polemarch, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and the wonderful Dorothy R. Jackson, J.D., Executive Director and Policy Counsel for BCHLE. Welcome all. Welcome, 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 and thank you for being a part of Wake Up, Wake Up, Wake Up World. I'm going to ask Attorney Derek Humphreys to kind of guide us as we move our very special guests into this wonderful conversation so that we get out the vote for 2020.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, the Honorable Joanne Watson. Our dear veteran of Detroit City politics and national politics. We thank you so very much for creating this opportunity. Today, the Black Congress on Health, Law, and Economics appreciates being on the show.
We're so glad you're on the show, and we're going to ask one of the great leaders for many decades in the city of Detroit, the Honorable Adam Shakur, former deputy mayor, former chief judge of 36th District Court, to talk to us about, and also a professor at Wayne County Community College District. Deputy Mayor, Judge, the Honorable Adam Shakur, talk to us about why it's important to vote in 2020. Well, let's have Dennis or Gregory or David Hardrick, President Unity 9, Samuel Hamilton, Grand Polemarch, Kappa Alpha Psi, or my sister Dorothy Jackson, JD. Any of you chime in on why it's important to vote in 2020. Lead us off this morning.
Good morning, Joanne. This is Sam Hamilton. It's a pleasure being a part of the show this morning. Thank you for having me on. It is extremely important that we all get out the vote. Kappa Alpha Psi, under the leadership of Reuben A. Shelton, the 3rd Esquire in the 34th administration, has actively implored that each of the members of Kappa Alpha Psi, along joining with the other members of the D9 and 9, get actively involved in their communities, which is consistent with our history of always being involved in movements such as this. We will all be out encouraging everyone, doing what we have done historically, that being we're in education of the issues registration, mobilization, voter suppression, involvement in terms of making certain everyone gets the opportunity to cast their democratic right, which is the vote. Dating back to certainly all who have Thomas Bradley and John Conyers, Congressman Conyers, who has been a long proponent utilizing our services, our chapters located throughout the country and also internationally, to make certain that everyone takes advantage of the opportunity. We operate on the basis of, if you want to go quickly, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
That's right.
And that is what we're doing.
That's right. Unity clearly is the key. Dr. Dennis Rogers, talk to us from your perspective of why we have no option but to vote in November.
Well, all of us pay taxes and we don't have an option. And our taxpayer dollars are being allocated daily, monthly, and annually to care for city services and provide the services of human needs that we all have. And so ultimately, if we believe in putting our energy where our money goes, it's imperative that we vote so that those who are elected actually are representative of our interests.
That's
Beyond
right.
spending our money without our input, it's ultimately important for all of us in our community that our dollars be allocated where our needs are.
That's
and thus
right.
we elect the people who are connected to us to help allocate those resources that we all pay anyway.
You well said, Dr. Dennis Rogers. And Dorothy Jackson, JD, you are active on so many levels with so many organizations, and you certainly are an anchor at BCHLE, Executive Director and Policy Council. As a woman who's been active in the political circles for decades, what would you particularly challenge organizations to make sure that they become part of the solution in getting out the vote?
Well, I think all of the Divine Nine organizations have been doing this work for years. But sometimes and I have to mention regarding the Divine Nine that I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated here with Kappa Alpha Psi Brothers.
Yeah.
But this country lacks leadership. And no disrespect to my brothers on the phone or in life, but when you go to churches, it's the women and the deaconesses and everybody who they know they have to work together, whether they like each other, they don't like each other or not. You have a project, you get it done, and you get it done successfully.
That's right.
Some people look at the person, and I say that in quotes, in the White House now, and they can't see that there's no leadership in the country. I think the key to everything is leadership.
Yeah.
All of the organizations are trying to lead, and Unity 9 PAC came together 12 years ago under the push, pull, and struggles of Sam Hamilton, who thought we should all
Sam Hamilton, who just spoke to us briefly, you are the former Grand Polemarch Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, but you understood the significance of unity, and that's why the Divine Nine, the Unity Nine, has been such a force to be reckoned with. And I know you're proud about that, Samuel Hamilton.
Yes, I am. It became clear to us that within that political arena, there was a part that we were not fully involved with, and that was the need to come together to have even closer relationship with those who seek to serve in the public interest. The PAC, Unity 9 PAC, allowed each of the organizations to come together to pool our resources to make certain that candidates from the top of the ticket to the bottom had the opportunity to come forth and serve in that public interest. Clearly, the dollars that we were able to raise, specifically in local situations, and all politics being local, allowed the fact that $1,000, $5,000 allowed us to make certain that a candidate had the opportunity to finish a campaign, to pay for a neighborhood, to have campaign workers. So in addition to all the other things that you do in terms of the education, the mobilization, the transportation, and making certain there is no voter suppression, you need to be able to have champions around the table, and you have to help make certain that the resources, certainly adhering to the manner in which and the requirements of how you do this, and not interfere with any of our other 501c3 designations. We were able to form the PAC to do that, and that which occurs normally in the overall process. So we added what I call the fourth estate to the political arena through the PAC. And fortunately, the members at that time and the organizers at that time have bought into that idea. And once again, there is strength in unity. And when you have 2.5 million voters in that process, you know that you can have an impact on what occurs in the voting arena.
Absolutely, and it's a quarter after the hour, so I want to let everyone know that the Black Congress on Health Law and Economics, BCHLE, is a sponsor for this series of very special programs of Wake Up Detroit, Wake Up World, as we're organizing our viewers and our listeners and our community and the organizations represented to make sure they are part of getting out the vote. This is a wonderful opportunity to seize this time and to decide we're not going to watch what other people are going to do. We're going to make a difference ourselves. And I want to hear from David Hardrick, president of Unity 9 Political Action Committee.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for having me on. As mentioned earlier by Dorothy Jackson and past Grand Poet Mark Sam Hamilton, we evolved from the KPAC, which was started to support members of our organization and those who supported our communities. And it was under Sam's leadership, we thought that this would be a great effort to combine all Divine Nine organizations. So in one of the National Panhellenic retreats that we have annually or semi-annually, we came up with workshops that came up with the idea that we can do something collectively. I think for 10 years, and going back to all of the Congressional Black Caucus sessions, and the one that was always hosted by Congresswoman Marsha Fudge, the question always came up, what are you all doing collectively? And everybody would speak on their mentoring programs and on their scholarship programs and et cetera, and the community outreach, and all the other organizations they were supporting, but they could not really put a handle on a collective effort. So Unity 9 evolved as a result of that. And for the past 10 years, we have been reaching out and successfully supporting campaigns across this country. Starting in 2008, we have supported the downstream candidates from President Barack Obama, because at that time, President Obama was not accepting PAC money, but we were able to support his campaign and his election by supporting chapters and organizations across the country, providing them with bullhorns and water while they stood in those long lines to vote during that those hot days. And we made a difference in getting folks out to vote.
Yeah.
So Unity 9, which is a non-connected PAC, we're not connected to any particular party or any other organization.
Right.
So we're independent, and we do invite those from the 9 organizations who have the opportunity to serve on our board. We have 12 board seats, and 9 of those are reserved for the Divine Nine organizations members. So we looked at this as being an opportunity to grow our political strength for all of our organizations, because being 501c organizations, they're not allowed to lobby or endorse candidates. Well, the Unity 9 can endorse candidates. We can fund candidates. We can raise money for candidates. in the name of Unity 9. And that's what we envisioned 12 years ago. And we still hold on to that vision because we know this is success. This has been successful in the corporate world. If you look at every major corporation, they have a PAC. In many cases, like the United Auto Workers, for example, their members or their employers contribute to the PAC. And they send people to Congress, they lobby, they do all those things that are required when you have issues and demands that you need to support. A PAC is necessary to talk about the communities, the issues of our communities and the needs of our communities.
Yeah.
And the leadership of the Divine Nine organizations are spokespersons for those communities. We touch bases all across this country, and we need to be able to support those issues through our political arm, and that's why Unity 9 was formulated.
All right, well said. Well said. And you really have given us a backdrop for unity, organizational unity. It sets aside egos and focuses on getting the job done. I love that.
Correct.
Joanne, this is Dorothy. Can I add one thing to what David said? He gave a great view of the Unity 9 PAC, but I just like your audience to know that all of the people who serve on the Unity 9 board, the officers, the at-large members, the administrative work, we all are volunteers. There's not one dime of anyone's donations or contributions go to any salaries or things like that. In fact, we pay for out of our pockets for the administrative tasks and the things that we have to perform. So I just wanted that to be known. Every dime is for the cause.
Yep, excellent, excellent. The Honorable Adam Shakur, are you able to give us a good word this morning about getting out to vote? The Honorable Adam Shakur, I'm going to ask Attorney Derek Humphreys, who's joining us by phone. The great attorney Derek Humphreys, who's the founder and National Director General Counsel for Black Congress on Health Law and Economics, and has done a wonderful job of pulling together these national leaders to get. And today, the national leadership is very well represented by Kappa Alpha Psi, and I believe Attorney Humphreys is a life member. Attorney Humphreys?
I'm honored to be a life member of Kappa Alpha Psi, having become a member through the Sigma chapter at the University of Michigan, and being able to participate in different ways, particularly coming to be aware of the significance of the frat and the unity group when I was counsel for the Congressional Black Caucus. And so as we move forward and we overcome the obvious electronic and technical failures here, as I come back here and join you through the telephone, we focus on, we're now 9 weeks away from Tuesday, November 3rd. And that's 9 Saturdays and 9 Sundays from Tuesday, November 3rd. If David might be able to share with us the program for over the next 9 weeks. I'm told that absentee ballots will be sent out in a couple of weeks, and people will be asked to fill them out. David, could you share with us how the Unity 9 will work to assure that all of the those who need assistance can receive assistance? Kappa Alpha Psi has a huge number of chapters across the country, and will they be mobilized to assist those who may be listening on this call?
Yes, Kappa Alpha Psi has partnered with the NAACP and also the Way We Vote, the organization that was started to get voter registration and get out the vote by Michelle Obama. And we've been working collectively with those two organizations to make sure that we get to our communities voter registrations. There are tools and resources that each of our chapters are using to make sure that they can register as many voters, new voters as possible. In addition to registering those voters, we want to make sure that they get to the polls, and Unity 9 in that respect helps them to help educate those polls. A funded PAC provides resources, so if transportation is needed in those areas, in those communities where the polling places have been shut down and they have to travel some distance, a fully funded PAC can finance those transportation needs. And that's one of the objectives that we will have. As you know, PACs are limited in the amount of money they can contribute to candidates, but it doesn't limit us in the amount of activities that we can be engaged in. And one of those is get out the vote, making sure that voter education is covered, that folks are aware of what's on the ballots, what's on the down ballots, what the laws are in those states, because voter suppression is real. And we will make sure that we have some kind of resources on the ground to make sure that every vote counts. And in order to do that, you have to have resources, and you have to have money to support those resources. And that's what PACs primarily do, to make sure that we can get people that have to exercise their right to vote, can do it safely, and can do it through the devices that's available, whether it's absentee ballot, whether it's short lines at the polling places, and to demand that polling places are open in our communities instead of going around shutting down, making it more challenging. So those are the things that we will focus on, in addition to raising money for candidates for the next 9 weeks.
All right. That's organizing. That is organizing. Gregory Humphreys, activist and campaign strategist, what are some of the tools you are going to be recommending to get the vote out in November 2020? He may be muted. Let me check and see if Dennis Rogers, National Field Director of BCHLE, has some tools and strategies in mind for getting out the vote that anybody can use, including the Kappa Alpha Psi, who are the special feature this day.
Well, thank you. I'd like to applaud members of Kappa Alpha Psi for having this leadership moment. It follows a continuum of leadership, provided we remember the Voter Education Project back in the day, headed up by Vernon Jordan, and the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. And we move into modern times, and we see this particular PAC being extremely effective because of the leadership of all of the Divine Nine institutions that are participating. As a mentee, if you will, of Dr. Ronald Walters, who is a member of your association, I'd like to say again, thank you for creating an environment conducive for leadership and contribution here in America and abroad. So in modern times, we know that technology plays such a huge factor, and that people are Instagramming, more and more people are Zooming, and the conversation has gone digital. They say the revolution will not be televised, it will now be digital. And so it's imperative that in our continuous communication leading up over the next 60 days to the actual election period, that we not get distracted by misinformation.
Yes.
Recently, the person who sits in the White House has said in the state of North Carolina that people should both mail in their vote and then they should go vote as well.
That's illegal.
That's illegal. Absolutely correct. So we have to be clear-minded to hear our leadership when they share with us, we're doing one or the other. We're doing rise to the polls. We're keeping our social distance, and we're encouraging our neighbors to take all souls to the polls. It's imperative that we use the digital media as a means of having clear lines of communication in modern times.
That's right. Attorney Derek Humphreys, why is it so important that all the organizations you represent in the Black Congress on Health Law and Economics, and let me pause right now to, at the bottom of the hour, to say that this very special session of Wake Up World is sponsored by BCHLE, Black Congress on Health Law and Economics. We thank you for that sponsorship. We would love to have you talk about your vision and pulling together all of the organizations that are a part of the consortium of BCHLE to be a part of this massive Get Out the Vote campaign for this nation.
Well, it's pretty straightforward, and that is that those who are members of the fraternities and sororities are the ones who have greatest influence in the local communities. As Sam has indicated, all politics is local. And so when we think about who is most influential in the local community, it generally turns out to be for our community, those that the community has invested in terms of education. And so, for instance, we take a family on the west side of Detroit, for instance. That family is focused on how can it continue to grow and prosper. And generally, the route to doing that is education. So that family then focuses on education. And because it is aware through the high school counselor that Kappa Alpha Psi may have a program, the local chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi may have a program which encourages going on to college with young people. Because Kappa Alpha Psi may be among the teachers in the school system. The families come to respect that counselor, that teacher, that member of the church who happens to be a Kappa, who volunteers and gives information and mentors young people through the various local institutions in our communities. Over the years, that builds tremendous credibility. Therefore, as a result, a member of Kappa Alpha Psi and one of the Unity 9, in fact, will have the credibility and people will listen to them. So when we look at, as we structured the Black Congress on Health, Law, and Economics to include, for instance, nurses and firefighters, when we check with the Gallup polls to identify those professions which are most trustworthy in the eyes of the people, we find that nurses and firefighters are at the top of the list.
Wow.
That people trust them.
Wow.
And so when we think of the specific and special impact that Kappa Alpha Psi can have, it is because the members of Kappa Alpha Psi are already in the community. They don't have to be recruited. They don't have to come in. They're right there as, once again, our teachers, as our ministers, as our judges, Judge Adam Shakur, for instance, as elected officials, as in so many different ways. They're already there. So it's a natural for them to be available and to be active. And so when we think of it, and I think back to conversations that we've had within the frat, we often ask the question, if in, for instance, the country of South Africa can declare a holiday on election day, why can't the United States do the same thing? Why can't local governments do as the Honorable Coleman Young did when he was in office?
That's right.
That he would say that the local and the city employees would have the day off so they could focus on going to the poll. And so that's a concept and a commitment that we have to resurrect. there has not been the type of focus on lifting up the concept of take the day off, go to the polls. Okay?
Oh, you have not
Go
heard
to the
that.
polls.
You have not heard that in the stream of conversation that has been going on among the Black or any leadership around this nation. You just have not heard that. But there ought to be a universal decision that election day, particularly a presidential election, ought to be a day when people are not required to work. It ought to be a holiday. Absolutely.
Yes. And so through the Unity 9, that message can be delivered even now, because local governments, county governments, state governments, large employers like General Motors,
That's right.
Ford, okay, can still make the decision. Labor, in the past, the day off on election day had been negotiated as part of the contract.
Right.
But now that still does not prevent the individual cities and employers from taking that magnificent step and saying, we're going to have a day off so that you can have a day on.
All right.
And that's what we're talking about.
All right.
Okay?
I like that. All right. Let me see if Gregory Humphreys or Adam Shakur can weigh in. Let me ask my sister Dorothy Jackson to talk about the role of those persons who did not vote in 2016. As you know, we had a significant number of people who did not vote, period. In 2000, what should be the wake-up call for those folks?
I think the wake-up call for those folks is what's going on now in the world. In fact, Snoop Dogg came out and did a lot of press on the fact that he didn't vote because he was a two-time felon. And he didn't know that that was old news, and now he was allowed to register and vote. So I think when he came out and said that, that left room for other people to start thinking and to find out. So one thing that I authored a formula in 2000 when everything looked so one-sided and Gore was so smart and the other person was not, that I think a lot of people let down their guard because they said, oh, this is a shoo-in. So it's very simple if you share it with people. It's registration, voter registration plus voter education equals voter mobilization and voter participation.
Yeah.
And you can't forget the second part about the education. To get people to check their records, even if they have to check with their probation officers, and figure out how much, if they've done all their time and if they're allowed to vote. And this is one thing that the late Congressman John Conyers always fought for, restoring the rights of vote of those who were formerly incarcerated.
Yes.
The other thing we have to know, and David and Sam know me for meetings, I'm always fighting about this with all the digital people and the Instagram and the Zoom. We have what I call the church ladies and people like that who don't know anything about the computer. And I just keep preaching all the time, we cannot forget them.
That's right.
And in this pandemic, we're not going to be able to use our usual tools for getting out the vote. So we have to come up with more ways to do that. And so as far as partnership, Unity 9, we also partner with the League of Women Voters for training. And several of us are also, I think maybe everybody on the call is also board members of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. In fact, Attorney Humphreys is the counsel. I see David there at meetings, sometimes Sam. So we're all connected across the board. So even Unity 9, we partner with other people. We have to get the job done, and we have to make sure in the education focus that we go from people don't just vote for the president, don't just vote for your senator or congressman.
Right. That's
Even
right.
though it's important, we have Mike Espy running for Senate in Mississippi. We have a young man, Jamie Harrison, running for Senate in South Carolina.
My.
We have a sister running for mayor in Clarkson, Georgia. We have another young man who's just so fresh in politics. He's running for fire commissioner in the suburbs of Trenton, New Jersey. We help everybody. We want to see everybody be part of the process.
All right.
So now, Reverend Watson, if I can take one moment of personal privilege, going back to what Dr. Dennis Rogers said, he mentioned the revolution not being televised.
Yeah.
And I feel I have to share in this moment that Gil Scott-Heron was my classmate at Lincoln University.
Oh, come on.
The first time he performed The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, and I hate to date myself, but was at our freshman homecoming in 1967.
I love it.
And if we could only, I wish he were here today to see, well, kind of the revolution is being televised because all the brutal beatings are on TV.
That's right.
So we've gone, in all that time though, the reason and what prompted him to write the song, things have not changed. So the struggle always continues, and we have to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. That's why it's important that we fight together. The fraternities, the sororities, the other nonprofits, the Black Congress on Health Law and Economics. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention, because I don't think it has been mentioned, that Attorney Derek Humphreys is also a founding member and has always been the general counsel of the Black Congress on Health Law and Economics.
Joyce, if I might add to what Dorothy has said, and also to Brother Humphrey's comments, one of the primary things for the wave of members of Divine Nine being on the scene is to be the voice of others, or those who may not feel they have a voice or may not feel that it's important. There are those who wallow in despair, and they need pumping up at times, need reinforcement of the fact of what my grandmother often said, is that where there's a will, there's a way. There are no obstacles that we cannot come. We are not going to wallow in despair or say, oh, woe is me. We're going to find a way. And in the spirit of John Lewis, Congressman Lewis, we're going to overcome barriers. The relationship of our leader, Brother Shelton, Grand Polemark, breaking barriers, building bridges, and moving forward, brother to brother. But to have a mass out there of people who have credibility in the community, who say and demonstrate and exemplify the fact that we're moving forward. Again, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
We are moving forward. We're not going to be turned around. We're not going to be ignored. We're here, and we're here to stay, and we intend to make certain that we all exert our constitutional rights.
That's right.
The last part of what I want to say now is that where you have the importance of vote all the way down the district attorney to politics, local, the aspect, who's going to pick up your trash and when they're going to do it, what your cable fees are going to be. When those things are enacted, they happen tomorrow, not 2 years after registration or regulations have been promulgated. They happen the next day.
That's right.
It's extremely important. And in today's climate of what we're seeing around the country, your prosecutors, your sheriffs, your district attorneys, the league, the county commissioners, everybody is important. The sacrifices that our forefathers have made and those who continue to make them demand that we do not miss any opportunity there is to vote. And we have to get out and exemplify the fact that just like we come to parent events or school events or scholarships as such, we also are actively involved in making certain that everyone understands the importance of this, particularly when we come to these kinds of crossroads.
Well said. Well said. I want to really thank each of you for being an activist and an organizer and a leader in your own right. So just a blessing and what an honor and a privilege it is to have you on Wake Up Detroit, Wake Up World on this day. I want to ask each of the Kappas to offer a challenge to any Kappas who are watching or listening. And then those who are not members of Kappa Alpha Psi, I want you to also put your voice on the continuum of leadership and vision.
Yes, I would like to just
Go ahead. Any of the Kappas, just speak up.
Brother Humphreys mentioned our mentoring program. We are approaching 100 years of our Guide Right program, which started in 1924, and that's one of the oldest mentoring programs in the country. What we have done in addition to that is that we have started what we call Kappa Leaguers that's been around for several decades.
Yeah.
And our goal is to be able to mentor and guide these young men from elementary school up through high school.
Excellent.
And get them involved. And so you can go to our Guide Right, our Kappa League TV station on YouTube, and you can see some of the achievements those young men have accomplishing. The second thing that we do, application for membership to Kappa Alpha Psi. One of the questions that you have to check off for membership is that, are you a registered voter?
Well,
that is part of our entry into our organization. So we make sure that the political process is in place. Are you clearly understood? We don't ask who you vote for, what party, but we do make sure that you are a registered voter. Unity 9 will be working with all of the organizations, as we all mentioned, pushing forward, making sure that the down ballots are addressed, the resources are there. We need the help of the community to contribute. We're asking the members of each of our organizations, even if they just contribute the founding members, like at 1911, just contribute $19.11, or
yeah.
1908 or 1903. So we're looking for those contributions from each of the 9 organizations, as well as members from our communities, so we can show our strength in numbers. We got over 2.5 million members between the 9 organizations, and with those numbers and those contributions, we certainly can make a difference in this campaign and future campaigns.
2.5 million members is quite a wallop nationally, and
yes,
with the significance of the vote this year, it's power. It is absolute power, and what a blessing to have leadership of the Divine Nine as a part of our very special session on today, focusing on the vote, sponsored by Black Congress on Health Law and Economics, BCHLE, and today with a significant representation of Kappa Alpha Psi. Any other Kappas who want to add their voice to this conversation at this point?
Yes, and Joanne, what I'd like to do is connect Judge Shakur right now. He's calling me, and I'm going to connect him so that he can join us. So,
great.
Sure.
We want to certainly welcome the great Judge Adam Shakur, former Deputy Mayor under the Honorable Coleman Alexander Young, a professor emeritus at Wayne County Community College District, teaching law classes, and just an activist, a man who was the chief judge of 36th District Court in the city of Detroit for a number of years, and worked at the side of the Honorable Coleman A. Young, this Detroit's first Black mayor, and the Honorable Adam Shakur, I believe, is going to be joining us.
Good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, the Honorable Adam Shakur. My. Talk to us.
My dear friend, it's always a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And getting out the vote is the order of the day for 2020, is it not?
It is that, and that's it. That's a single focus. We have to do that because we have to change the direction of this nation, and it looks to be on the precipice of a great change. We just need to apply a little more pressure.
That's right.
And a lot more activity on that at that voting poll, and make it happen.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I know you're a proud Kappa man too.
Yes, I am.
And we might indicate, Judge Shakur, that we have on the call here past Grand Poll Mark Sam Hamilton. I think you are familiar with, and we also have the chair of the Unity 9 PAC, David Hardwick, Brother David Hardwick, on the call here too.
Yes.
Okay. And I didn't know to kind of put this a little bit in further perspective. You, to my knowledge, is the first Kappa man to serve as chief judge in 36th District Court in the city of Detroit. Am I correct?
You're correct. Absolutely. My.
And then, of course, as deputy mayor, as Joanne has indicated.
Yes, and one of the persons that helped me get elected to that office was the late Judge Arthur Bowman, another good Kappa man.
That's right.
He went on to go to the Wayne County Circuit Court, but we were both common pleas court judges, and when I got on the bench as a common pleas court judge, he was the one that kind of guided me and assisted me in knowing some of the other judges, and I owe a great debt to Judge Bowman.
Yes. And so,
and not forget his fabulous wife as well, because she was a great person in Detroit as well.
Well, you know, the point of the Honorable Adam Shakur, mentorship means everything. And having mentors who are important in your life help to move you in the path of success, of victory, where you're able to accomplish goals. And that's exactly what has been described in the Divine Nine Consortium as people come together. And we know that Black Congress on Health, Law, and Economics, BCHLE, is all about mentoring its various members and organizations into coming together as a unified whole to achieve specific goals. So we
absolutely, we are the sum and total of those who have assisted us in our lifetimes, and we have that debt of gratitude that can only be paid by mentoring and assisting others as they climb to success.
That's right. That's right. Well, I want to ask each of our very special guests to say one parting word as we move toward closing this very historic session of featuring Kappa Alpha Psi and the sponsored program of Black Congress on Health, Law, and Economics. Each of you would just say a word in closing, please, to leave the importance of getting out the vote on the hearts and minds of everybody listening, everybody watching.
Yes.
Brother Hamilton?
Yes.
Go ahead, Brother Hamilton.
Yes. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to again convey on behalf of 34th Grand Poll Mark of Kappa Alpha Psi, Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire. We, through his leadership and with his leadership, Kappa Alpha Psi is committed to make a meaningful difference in our communities, in all aspects of our community, social and community justice included. We will continue to carry forth our tradition of being actively involved in educating the registration the mobilization, the activity of combating voter suppression, and to make certain that everyone knows that get out and vote. Don't despair. Too many people have given the ultimate price for our right to do this.
That's right.
It is only fair and right that we follow through on what has been done by moving it forward every day and every opportunity we have.
Well said. All right. Another final closing, please.
Yes, this is a critical election, and we need to put together all of our resources collectively to make a change in this country. We cannot let our organizations sit on the sidelines and watch decisions being made and our rights being taken away one at a time. We need to make sure that we get people to the polls, get out to vote, make sure that we need to support and financial support behind our candidates. When Senator Harris said that she was thankful to get the nomination for vice president, she thanked her sorority, the 8 Alpha Kappa Alpha, and she thanked the members of the Divine Nine, and she asked them to get behind and support her. And the way to do that is through Unity 9 PAC, because your organizations can't endorse a candidate, but Unity 9 can. And we certainly endorse the Biden-Harris campaign.
All right. Thank you very much. Another special closing.
I would, this is Adam Shakur, and I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to participate with these outstanding Kappa men. I just celebrated my 50th anniversary on Sunday, August 30th, as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And I am going to leave these words because we owe a debt of gratitude not only to those founders of Kappa Alpha Psi, but to the heritage that was a heritage of struggle as they struggled to form this fabulous organization of men. And it is my honor to be a Kappa man and to follow in the footsteps of other Kappas in participating in the political process because some of our greatest leaders in the political process in our history as African Americans have been members of Kappa Alpha Psi and our fellow brethren and sisterhood in the Divine Nine. So thank you so much, Joanne, for inviting me to participate.
Thank you very much for being here. And I have to say it was such a powerful presence to witness the Kappa Alpha Psi men from all over the country standing up at the homegoing services from the Honorable John Conyers, Congressman Conyers, who was a great Kappa man. I thank you for being there, the Honorable Adam Shakur, and all the Kappa men for lifting up our great leader, the Dean of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congressman John Conyers, as we invite others to close us out.
Joanne, this is Dorothy. My closing thought is, and I've said this before on your show, I had a relative who was lynched in South Carolina.
Lord have mercy.
For organizing his neighbors to vote. So all I'd like to say is we have to keep the faith lest we forget and keep moving forward.
That's right. Well said. Well, God bless you, Dorothy Jackson. Just a wonderful leader. And thank you for being a woman president of these Kappas.
And I just like to add, if I may, in the spirit of Dr. Ronald Walters, who was chair of the political science department at Howard University, where I had an opportunity to attend and obtain my doctorate, and Dr. Walters, who served on my dissertation committee, and all of those organizations that are members of the Divine Nine and the PAC that were founded at Howard University, that this is, in the words of Chadwick Boseman, this is a Wakanda moment, right? This is a time for all of us to come together, regardless of our affiliation, and to put in the work necessary to improve our quality of life. And so we're looking forward to the next 60 days of effort and conversation to move us over the finish line into victory in this election cycle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Black Congress on Health, Law, and Economics. It's 9 o'clock, and that's going to be the last word. Wake up, Detroit. Wake up, world. God bless each of you, and thank you for making the Get Out the Vote message a priority message on this day. Have a wonderful day. God bless.
The earth shifts. The sun is at half mast. The moon waits for her first cry. The ancestors set the table. The flowers turn red as blood. This is your land, continent daughter, with tree trunk legs and branches for arms. This is your soil, black and fertile as your eyes facing an apartheid Jim Crow current past memory. Some of us begin the removal of shackles at birth. We grow into the armor of struggle quickly. We brew courage in our tea, blend bravery into our Sunday dinners. Joanne Watson, you understand nation building is not a part-time job. This dedicated life is sometimes lonely, a vulnerable choice, but it is the only way you know how to